Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts, constantly replaying the same complaints and grievances in your mind? It's a common human experience, one that can leave us feeling stuck and powerless. But what if I told you there's a way to break free from this mental prison? A method that could transform your perspective and unlock your hidden potential. I'm Mark Roach. Welcome to Transcendent, my platform from a perspective formed from a journey around the world through life, crossing a wide spectrum of human experience from high to low, as most people in American society would define them. This channel is all about inspiring common people to find their power and place their uniqueness in their lives. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in front of a mirror, but instead of seeing your physical reflection, you're able to see your inner self thoughts, your emotions, and behaviors. This is the essence of self-observation, a powerful technique that has been used for centuries by those seeking personal growth and enlightenment. The concept of self-observation is not new. It's been a cornerstone of many spiritual and philosophical traditions. However, in the mid-20th century, a group of thinkers and practitioners, including George Gurdjieff and P.D. Ouspensky, developed a systemic approach to self-observation of what they called the work. This work was further elaborated on by their students, including Maurice Nicoll and his wife. In May 1944, Maurice Nicoll gave a talk at Birdlip in England, emphasizing the importance of deeper self-observation. He suggested that people should pay close attention to their inner angry conversations and the way they justify their negative states. Now, this might sound simple, but it's a practice that can lead to profound insights and personal transformation. One of the key recommendations Nicoll made was to write down your observations. It might seem old-fashioned in this digital age, but there's something powerful about putting your pen to paper. It forces us to slow down, to really consider our thoughts and feelings. Nicoll advised keeping a private book for these observations, and I can second that. A place where we can be completely honest with ourselves without fear of judgment. Now, you might be thinking, why bother? I know myself pretty well already, but here's the thing. Most of us don't really know ourselves as well as we think we do. We're often blind to our own pattern of thoughts and behaviors. By writing down or even filming yourself over time, we can start to see these patterns more clearly. Imagine, for instance, that you've been writing down your complaints about others for a year. Then when you look back, you might be surprised to find that you've been making the same complaints over and over and over about different people and in different situations, but the realization can be a real eye-opener. It suggests that just maybe the problem isn't with all these different people. Maybe it's something within you. This is where the real work begins. Once you recognize these patterns, you have the opportunity to change them. The next time you find yourself falling into that familiar complaint, you might just catch yourself. You might have a moment of what Nicoll calls remembering yourself, a moment of clarity where you see your habitual reactions for what they are. But self-observation isn't just about noticing our negative patterns. It's also about becoming aware of our tendency to justify ourselves. We all do it. We put ourselves in the right. We explain away our mistakes. We blame others for our shortcomings. Nicoll suggests that this self-justification is a major obstacle to personal growth. It prevents us from experiencing what he calls real suffering, the kind of deep and transformative experience that comes from truly facing ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about beating yourself up or wallowing in guilt or showing everyone how you're suffering. It's about developing a more honest, being kind to yourself, being clear-eyed about who you really are, rather than lying to yourself or viewing yourself through the eyes of your parents or a teacher or how you'd like to be. About being honest and authentic with yourself. It's about developing what Nicoll calls real conscience, an inner sense of right and wrong that goes beyond the social conditioning or superficial morality. One of the most fascinating aspects of this work is the idea that we exist in different states of consciousness. Nicoll describes how we can be completely identified with our thoughts and emotions in one moment and then find ourselves in a completely different state in the next. It's like being caught in a storm and then suddenly finding yourself in the eye of it, where everything is calm and clear. Now, this shift in consciousness is what the work aims to cultivate. It's about learning to step back from the constant chatter of our minds, the endless cycle of thoughts and reactions. It's about creating a space where we can observe ourselves without judgment, without jumping to conclusions about what is next, about being in the moment, where we can see our patterns without being caught up in them. One practical technique that Nicoll suggests is to completely relax when we find ourselves in one of those negative states. This means relaxing not just our body, but also our mind, to let go of our thoughts, to let go of our tensions, to let go of our need to be right. It's a form of what he calls self-remembering, a state of heightened awareness where we're not identified with our usual thoughts and feelings. This might sound abstract, certainly challenging, but it's actually a very practical skill. Think about how often we get caught up in our emotions, how often we react without thinking. Learning to step back to create that space of awareness can change everything. It can transform our relationships. It can transform our work. It can alter our entire experience of life. But here's the thing, this work isn't easy. It requires consistent effort, honesty, and willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It's not something that we can do once and be done with. It's a lifelong practice, a constant process of observing, learning, and growing. And yet the rewards of this work are immense as we become more aware of the patterns, as we learn to step back from our habitual reactions. We gain a kind of freedom. We're no longer at the mercy of our thoughts and emotions. We have choice. We have agency. We can respond to life in new, more conscious ways. This work also opens us up to what Nicoll calls higher centers, deeper levels of wisdom and understanding within ourselves. It's as if we have these incredible resources within us, but we can't access them when we're all caught up in our usual state of consciousness. It's only when we quiet our minds, when we step back from our usual identifications, that we can tap into these higher levels of awareness. Now, you might be wondering how this relates to your life. After all, most of us aren't living in spiritual communities or dedicating our lives to esoteric practices. We're dealing with jobs, relationships, bills, all the everyday challenges of modern life. But that is the beauty of this work. It's not about escaping from life. It's about engaging with it more fully and consciously and honestly. Imagine how your life might change if you could catch yourself before you fall into a familiar argument with your partner. Or if you could step back from your stress at work and respond clearly, with clarity, instead of reactivity. Or if you could face a challenge with a sense of inner calm and resourcefulness. You might even surprise yourself. You didn't even know you could do that. Well, this is the promise of self-observation and self-remembering. It's not about becoming a different person, it's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about peeling away the layers of conditioning, habit, and unconscious reaction to reveal that deeper, truer self beneath. As we practice this work, we might find that in our relationships that they improve, they'll change, that we're able to handle more stress, maybe more effectively, that we have more energy, that we have more clarity in our daily lives. We might find ourselves making better decisions, feeling more connected to others and to ourselves. We might discover a sense of purpose and meaning that we've been searching for. But perhaps most importantly, we might find a new kind of freedom. Freedom from habitual patterns, freedom from our constant self-justification, freedom to choose how we respond to life rather than just reacting. This is the journey that Nicoll and others in the work tradition invite us to embark on. It's a journey of self-discovery, of awakening, of becoming more fully human. It's not always easy, but it's always worthwhile. So I invite you to try this for yourself. Start small. Maybe just a few minutes each day observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Notice your patterns, your habitual reactions. Write them down if you can. And most importantly, be patient and kind with yourself. This is a process. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Remember, the goal isn't to become perfect or eliminate all negative thoughts and feelings. It's to become more aware, more conscious, more alive. It's to tap into deeper wisdom and resources within yourself. It's to live life more fully and authentically. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.